box 391 in the case of the sub-district, East Coast sub-district for Region 4, and the limited recount, limited by the number of boxes that were required for District 5, 77. That was done. A total of perhaps close to 100 plus Gecom staff. You had perhaps over 100 agents and perhaps another 100 people supporting the process. I want to add that at the end of that process, the most that any one party moved in terms of ballots, in terms of votes, was 3 or 4, plus or minus 3 or 4, maximum. That is all the change that occurred as a net at the end of the process. So when I say and when I have said publicly that there has been no significant change in the results, that is what it meant. That is when you get down to the granular of it, that is what the final analysis says. That having been done, new declarations were done to reflect those changes by the returning officers of District 3, District 4 and District 5 that had the recounts done, and that was then tabulated and formed the basis of the elections report from the Chief Elections Officer. A meeting was summoned, duly summoned, by the chairman, as she's authorized to do, for the purposes of making that declaration this evening. As you're aware, that process of recount, I was keeping you abreast all the time. It finished about probably after 7 this evening. The tabulation finished sometime after that, and a meeting was summoned for 11 p.m. I received a notice of that meeting shortly after, around 8 p.m. this evening. It was reported to us by the chairman that the notification of the meeting was sent via email, it was sent via WhatsApp, calls were made to all commissioners. I myself received a call, and not so long after that, I observed that that notice of that meeting, or the meeting itself, had made its way into the public domain by way of the press. Several members, several news agencies published that in the press. I myself have received a plethora of calls questioning the authenticity of that, confirming that there is a meeting this evening, and I was able to do so. Now, I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me what was your success or how lucky you were in getting my colleague commissioners. But we have turned up this evening, and there has been a no-show by the 3 commissioners. And famous last words, where do we go from here? Hereafter, I wouldn't give the same answer. Hereafter, as provided by, I believe it's section 226 of the Constitution, the Commission in such circumstances can meet 2 days, 2 days after. But the framers of the Constitution must have contemplated issues such as this and the importance which is attached to a declaration, a meeting summoned for a declaration. And as a consequence, in the case, they added a further qualifier. In the case of a meeting held for the purposes of a declaration, that time of 2 days is shortened to 1 day. So as a consequence, a meeting, at least I expect that a meeting will now be summoned for tomorrow evening at the same time and same place as is contemplated by the Constitution for the same purpose.
And if that meeting, if there's no quorum for that meeting?
So if there is, so allow me to backtrack for a second, and for for the benefit of the viewing public. The quorum of a meeting of the Elections Commission is the chairman and 2 commissioners from either side. At least 5 persons. At the adjourned meeting, it is catered for the presence of any 4 commissioners. Any 4 commissioners will be a quorum at the next meeting.
That's 4, including the commission.
Any 4 commissioners.
Which includes the chairman.
Which includes the chairman. The chairman is a commissioner as well.
And from then on, what happens? You can go ahead and...
Well, as long as the meeting is quorate, then any business that is contemplated or that can be conducted at the quorate meeting of the commission will obviously be conducted.
So in summation, if tomorrow comes, the other commissioners do not come to the meeting, you proceed to have the declaration made.
As the Constitution duly authorizes the commission to do.
And what happens? Can you explain what happens after that declaration is made, or what should happen?
So after a declaration is made, a notification is sent to the Chancellor of the Judiciary, who is authorized by law to administer the oath of a president. And I expect that after that notification is sent to the Chancellor of the Judiciary, that arrangements will be made thereafter for the swearing in of the president.
Do you anticipate, finally from it, do you anticipate anything popping up that could stop that declaration between tonight and tomorrow night?
Well, I like to describe myself as a pragmatist, and as a consequence, I expect anything. We've had a very, very, very well executed electoral process, elections day, and you know what? My apologies for using your question to elaborate in this manner, but it would be remiss of me if I don't take this opportunity again to speak about the efficiency in which with which this process was conducted. From the as early as nominations day, when it was the first public aspect of the elections being conducted, moving right on to the discipline services balloting, which went on without incident, followed by the actual conduct of poll. Monday was, in my view, excellently conducted. By Tuesday morning, everyone went back to normal. And if any of you will be honest with yourself, you'll realize how important that was and why that observation must be made. We've had elections, normal elections, when for days after businesses are closed, people keep their children home from school, they don't, and all of that. By Tuesday morning, everyone was back to work. By Tuesday evening, you had declarations made in at least 6 districts. By Wednesday, you had declarations made in all of the districts. But for these recount requests, by yesterday afternoon, that's Thursday afternoon, the commission would have been in a position to declare the results of these elections. And it is very deliberate that I'm mentioning that, because as a commissioner in particular, and the Guyana Elections Commission in general, we get battered in the public space for the time it takes to deliver elections results. The commission this year has been able to reduce that time significantly without altering the quality of the results. And that is a very, very important observation to make. But we have received requests for recons, which is authorized by law, which which requests were entertained and which requests were executed efficiently. You had people working here for in excess throughout, from starting at 8 a.m. yesterday and going continuously until 8 p.m. tonight, which is about a continuously, 24 and 12, 36 hours. I have seen representatives of contestants speaking about the lack of care for the welfare of people being involved in this process. But what they fail to realize is the importance of elections to the lives of all of us. To the lives of all of us. So while it is easy to attempt to cast aspersions on whether persons are cared for, whether persons are cared for when they are executing this process with expediency to ensure that results are delivered to the electorate, which is the most important stakeholder in this electoral process. And instead of recognizing that importance and instead of cooperating with that process, every effort was made to derail that process. But that notwithstanding, the process is concluded, but here we are, unable to declare those results and complete this electoral process because of the collective absence of opposition commissioners.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
You too.
I'm sorry to have you out here this hour, but the electoral process is not done.
See you tomorrow night.
Yes, same time, same place. Same time, same place by law.